Hi YouTubers, this is another video from your friendly neighborhood reviewer, Evelyn. Today we're going to be reviewing another South Korean series, All of Us Are Dead, also known in Korea as 지금 우리 학교는, a coming-of-age series that you can find on Netflix. It's basically the zombie apocalypse that's come down, that the outbreak happens in our high school. The series is comprised of 12 episodes, and apparently there's some rumors that the series was inspired by an accident that happened in South Korea quite some time ago about a boat of students that, due to malpractice and the authorities not really helping, most of them died. So the central theme of the series is about this scientist called Lee Byung-chan. The actor's name is Kim Byung-chul. You've probably seen him in other series like Dr. Prisoner and, well, I can't think of any other series. But he is the scientist, and his son gets bullied quite a lot. He doesn't know how to handle it. He's tried everything, and his son attends the same high school that he works at. And even though that he went to the principal and stuff, they went and hush-hushed his son's bullying. And in some weird, obtuse way, he wanted to eliminate fear and aggression by first learning how to cure fear and aggression. So he has the bright idea of creating a virus but not knowing the consequences. I've seen the whole 12 episodes. It took me quite some time. So the basis of the show is the psychological elements about high school students, about the neglect that being an adult is sometimes not always what it cracked up to be, and how adults can fail young kids in high school by not looking out for the signs, whether they're being bullied, harassed, or traumatized. So the main focus of the group here is that we have Nam On-ju and also Lee Chong-san. They're both childhood friends and they have an ongoing friendship, more like a brother-sister. But we kind of see that Lee Chong-san likes Nam Jo-won, and then we see the other friends that get introduced to the circle. That we have the male figures in there, and also that we have a girl in there that has grown up from privilege. And when the zombie apocalypse hits, she turns out to be crazy. To all those who've seen the series, you probably wanted her to die. I'm not going to detail everything about this series because it is like 95% of the series is set in the school, and it's about a group of kids trying to figure out what to do and trying to wait, because the idea of high school students, they're waiting at the school because they figure the firemen, the police, anybody would come to save them. But matter of fact, that's not the fact. And another important thing to point out, Nam On-ju, her dad, is a firefighter slash paramedic. I kind of got confused which one does, but I think he's more of a paramedic. And we can see that he has army training. So he goes off to rescue some people in the building, and he gets stuck in the building with some politician woman. The woman, you've probably seen her in Happiness. We can kind of see them recycling actors and actresses to another zombie apocalypse movie, or series in this case. So it was dealing with that, but primarily the outbreak happens within the school, where this girl gets bitten by an infected rat that the scientist, Byung-chan, had experimented injecting the virus into mice. So she gets infected, and that's how the outbreak happens, where the school nurse gets infected, everybody else gets infected, and then we turn out that the whole virus is outbreak. And this transmits to where Nam On-ju's dad is, where the virus outbreaks. So we see that going on within the series. Major parts within the series that is clearly seen is the lack of authority that the adults have, and we can clearly see when the apocalypse happens that, there's no dealing with it. Like what we're going through in the world at the moment, there's no way of dealing with it, not enough resources or manpower. So the prominent figures that we can see within the series is with the group of friends of Nam On-ju and Lee On-ju, and then we have this other love triangle dynamic that Nam On-ju in the episode confesses to Lee So-hyuk that she likes him, but unfortunately Lee So-hyuk, before he can respond, that's when the outbreak happens, he secretly likes the class president, Cho Namura. The class president in this case is very quiet. She keeps to herself. She's there like scribbling away on the books. But towards the end of the series, we see that they both, confess their love to each other. The major themes within the series that, as teenagers, we have all these conceptions of what people think about us, but the series strips back all of that, and the teenagers are really honest with each other, and they really see themselves for what it is and all the injustices they've had while studying at the school. And the other part of the series that is really telling is the outcasts. They did concentrate on these two outcasts, that the girl and the boy. Well, anyway, to those who've seen the series know about the girl who in the beginning of the episode where she gets traumatically bullied by these other group of delinquents, where they even forced her to undress, and they took a video of her, and she was already at that breaking point that she was going to jump over the roof. But before that happens, the outbreak happened where she saw a ton of kids like jumping out through the window. So her and her friend, or male friend, they stay on the rooftop. So it's really interesting to see what happens when the delinquents are in the apocalypse, and where they could fulfill all the things they wanted to do, revenge against the school, against the teachers, against everybody. And the way she's able to extract her revenge, that she gets bitten, but the virus has mutated, and we get the sense of these hambies, half zombie, half human. We don't know which is which, and it's not really explored the reasons why, and she enacts her revenge. All in all, by the end of the series, the students escape for their own free will, because the army, the colonel, wherever he's the head guy, saw that some people that were infected with the virus became asymptomatic, so showing no symptoms of the virus, and they had mutated. So he decides, there's the episode where the students get heartbreakingly left behind by the rescue team on the chopper, and the students finally realize that the adults had abandoned them. And of course, anyone can understand the reasons why not. But this colonel, the army guy, to those who've seen it, he makes the choice to blow up, to lure the zombies, because they get attracted by sound, to certain locations, like within the town of Hosan, the high school gymnasium, this part, and that part, and he sets off nuclear bombs. But he understands with that decision, he could potentially end up killing off people that are not affected. He makes that decision since the whole city's under lockdown, and he blows them up. And this part I don't agree on. Like, such a coward's way to, shoot himself in the head. If he really felt bad about that, I say he should have surrendered himself to whatever form of justice, speak out that he was put in a difficult position, that no government help, whatever. But to make such a choice and don't kill yourself, what type of leadership is that? I first said that the translation of the translation of the series "지금 우리 하기는" was more accurate, but then as the series went by saying "all of us are dead," that's more accurate, since the majority of the students end up dying, and we have the sole survivors, and that ended up to be 4 people. I didn't describe the other students, but I will mention the archery, the girl who was on the archery team, and the other delinquent girl. They were the standouts. The delinquent girl, they were the standouts of the series. I wish they would have put more emphasis. Such a great little actress. I hope she'll do better, great things with that, spirit and charisma. So we end up having the survivors and the class president, Namra. There was a struggle where she was about to give in to her darker urges, and she was going to end up biting Nam Onju, but she doesn't. She ends up running away. And they end up finding her after Nam Onju goes and visits. She escapes the little quarantine site and goes back to the high school every so often, and she goes back to the tree where her and the other friends live. It's kind of like, it becomes like a shrine to all their classmates that died. And she ends up seeing far away on the top of the school roof that there's a little fire burning out. And her instincts tell her that it's Namra, because they had a sweet scene before they were almost rescued, where they were having a campfire, and they all said, next time let's all have a campfire together. Su Kyoko, she talks to, that could be Namra, and she tells him not to tell the rest of the survivors because it could be dangerous. But when she goes the next night, she only expected to see one person, but all the other survivors turn up, and they all get there. and they'll all go to the school site and they say, oh, nobody's here, there's ashes everywhere, we can see the dead bodies, the destruction within the high school. And just when you thought all was lost, Namra did appear. Because before, when she left, like, she had, her eye was basically, you know, drooping down. And then when we see her, she looks completely restored, still in the school uniform. That scene was eerie when Namra came back. Kind of felt like they were speaking to a ghost in a weird sense of way. It's like speaking to a ghost. But she tells them that she missed them and she wanted to see them. And they were like, oh, come back with us, you know, you're our friend no matter what happens. And then she's like, I have things to do. She says that there's other people like her, but Namjoon says, oh, you're not a zombie. And then Namra really does explain it well. Like, she makes a comparison about being a teenager. You're not really a child or an adult yet, you're somewhere in between. What a beautiful comparison that Namra made. And as she jumps off from the building, the ending, a lot of people are saying that it could be a season 2, but I never agreed with the scientist's intentions of wanting to help his son by injecting him with some untested virus, and he created the apocalypse for what reason? If he really wanted to help his son, I test on a homeless person, for Christ's sake. God knows, but still the virus would have happened either way. So let me get back to the ending. So Namra jumps off and all the remaining survivors are looking over the building, and they all look like they're seeing something shocking, and then the screen blanks out. And that's the end of the series, primarily. The series is a symbolic thing about the negligence of adults. And if they do give it a season 2, I wish they would expand this. Where the scientist, apparently he used to work on the research lab, but he got kicked out. I want them to expand on that. Since this series was just a big metaphor, but not really resolved anything. It felt like they didn't resolve anything, and the focus on the character should have been on the right character. Anyway, YouTubers, comment below. Please subscribe, I'd be really grateful if you would. And share any comments below what you think about the series, if you were satisfied with the end, and if you felt that they should have concentrated more on other characters instead of certain ones that ended up dying anyway. But anyway, have a good one.